to Yoga Flow. We're going to start this morning's practice on our backs. So just take your time to move to your back, settle down into the earth. Start to become a little bit more aware of your breath. Using the opportunity that you have here on the earth to become aware of your breathing patterns. Start to deepen your inhale breath and deepen your exhale breath. Let your shoulders start to settle down into the ground, maybe spreading your arms a little wider than the mat, walking the shoulder blades out from underneath of you. Maybe letting your head even sway a little bit as if you were painting on the ceiling with the tip of your nose. Your knees can be bent, or you might choose to do all of this with long legs. Then we're going to just start to add a little bit of movement. So if the legs have been long, let's go ahead and bring the knees up the mat a little bit, place the feet on the floor, and then just start to windshield wiper those knees, easy right and left. Your arms might stretch to T or even just up overhead towards the wall behind you. Just let yourself have a little space here. Next time those knees are back to center, go ahead and walk them in a little closer. And then bring them up off the earth. Knees come in towards chest. Bring the hands forward to the fronts of the shins and rock around. Massaging that low back. Right knee stays hugged into the body while we let our left leg go long down the mat. Point to flex the toes on both ankles. Roll around the ankles. Point to flex the toes on both feet, rather. And then invite this right knee over and across the body, just for an easy spinal twist. We're not going to the deepest shape you can get. Just a gentle opening of that outer hip. Allowing the spine to unleash a little bit here. And then use the breath to bring that right knee back to center. Your left foot might slide up the mat like a kickstand as you elevate right foot up to the ceiling, taking a little bit of a hamstring stretch. If you choose, you can let that left leg go long, of course, or you can slide your hands up the back of this right leg, reaching for the ankle perhaps, or the calf. Head might even come up off the floor. And then just take your time, soften all of that back to your heart, and switch legs. So now we're going to bring the left knee in. Send the right leg long down the mat. Just as you did before, let those ankles have some space. Curl the toes, point the toes. And then initiate that twist, taking this left leg over towards the right edge of the mat. Remembering it doesn't have to be the biggest twist you can find today. Just something to kind of open things up. Beautiful. Take your time. Start to bring that back to center. Slide that left foot up the mat. And right foot's going to point up towards the sky. Give yourself that hamstring opener. Knee can be bent, of course, if your hamstrings feel really tight. Or you can reach up towards that ankle and take a bigger shape. There it is. Take your time. Start to bring it all the way down to earth. Hands reach up and overhead. And then we'll soften all of that. Bring the hands down on either sides of the hips. Walk the heels as close as you can get them to the glutes and find your first bridge pose. So with yoga bridge, you're lifting your hips up off the ground. Belly button is up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are relaxed. One more full breath here. Imagine squeezing a block between your thighs. Lift the heels up off the earth. And then start to lower down one vertebra at a time. The last thing to hit the mat is going to be your heels. Once the heels hit the ground, the low back is settled, walk your feet together. Open knees for bound angle. Right hand comes to heart. Left hand sweeps across the belly. 3 full breaths here, really inviting the belly to grow with the inhale. And release down towards the floor with your exhale. Hands coming to the outer edges of those knees. Let's stand them up, hug them close, and start to rock and roll on your side. Bring yourself up towards a seat, and then just find a nice tall spine. So when we get on our seat, you might choose to put something underneath the tip of your tail. If it's been a minute, might feel good to put a block there, or maybe a blanket, or a towel if you brought something with you like that, that would be fine. Spine is nice and tall, head is lifted towards the ceiling. We'll use an inhale breath to reach hands high and look up. Exhale, bring it to your heart. Just take 2 more just like that. Just a little shoulders opening here. Connecting with the breath, eyes can be closed or open. Next time the hands come down to the heart, use an inhale breath to lace them together. Exhale, press them forward. Inhale, lift them up. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring them down. Inhale, pull them back in towards your heart, and then send them behind. Exhale with a heart opener. Hands on the earth, on your low back, or laced behind you. Maybe you even lift through the heart, through the chin, up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Take your time and start to walk back forward. All right, let's find a side body stretch, reaching the hands up tall. We'll let the right hand fall down to the earth. And then drop this left hand just outside that knee. We'll twist in with our side wall. Inhale, bring hands back up, and then just send them over to the other side. Same motion. Let's do it one more time. Up and down. Up and down. All right, when you're ready, hands lift back up nice and strong, and then we'll send this all the way down to the heart. Transition yourself onto hands and knees. Let's look for a couple cat-cows. So get your tabletop, get it in a place where you feel comfy, rock the hips maybe a little bit side to side, get your wrists right underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips, toes in straight lines, and then you know what to do. Belly drops on the inhale, chin inhale, lift, exhale, rounds the back. Go at your own pace. You don't have to match your neighbor. You don't have to match me. Just try to breathe. Next time you hit that angry cat spine, go ahead and send your hips back to your heels. Take your first child's pose of this practice time together. Hips towards those heels, arms might walk forward with length up the mat. Maybe your elbows are lifted up off the earth. Forehead can connect down with the ground, or you can continue to just let it hover off the earth. Give yourself another nice round of breath here. Perfect. Inhale, breath brings us back up through our table. Put the tops of your feet glued down into your mat. Put your wrists right underneath your shoulders. And when you feel ready, you're going to push through the tops of your feet and lift your knees only up off the ground. Now, if that bothers your ankles or your feet, you can certainly curl your toes under and lift your knees and do the same motion. But just to do a little more stretch for the tops of the feet, see if you can put those tops of the feet into the mat. Lifting up out of your wrist, one more good breath. Exhale, knees drop, sit back onto your heels, child's pose. If you need to stretch your feet by curling your toes under in that child's looking more like a puppy dog pose, that works too. Inhale, breath, bring yourself back forward to that table. Flatten the toenails back down to the mat, one more round. Inhale, breath, presses into the mat, lifts the knees. And then I want you to try to lift up out of the space between your wrist and your shoulder to see if you can elongate that part of your arm. So it's going to make you think more about expanding through your chest, pulling the crown of the head forward, feeling a good shake in the core. One more breath. You got it. Knees drop down. Sit back. It's a lot harder than it looks. Sit the hips back. If your wrists need to talk to you, roll them around a little bit. All right, let's find a down dog. Hands walk forward, toes curl under, downward facing dog. Lift those hips as high as you can make them go to the ceiling. And then just kind of walk them out. You probably need to bend your knees. This is your first one today. Hands are probably shoulder distance apart, maybe a little wider. But your fingers are spread about as wide as you can get them. All right, small steps with the feet. Take your time to walk your feet towards your hands. Hang in a forward fold. Shake the head, yes. And no. Inhale to come up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet, big inhale, hands reach up, look up. Exhale, cactus, let the arms come out. Beautiful, inhale it up. Send it to the earth, just a couple half sun salutations here. You can always be using a block, especially if your back feels a little tight today. Exhale, fold. Back up to standing. Give it a cactus again. Just follow your own breath. Let's go one more. Take your own pace. You're a little faster than me, no worries, or a little slower, that's okay too. When you finish this next one out, just bring hands to heart, rest in standing, Tadasana. Mountain pose, hands in the heart. Inhale, breath will bring the hands up overhead, let them stay connected. Exhale, sit down into a chair. Take the arms out in front and let them touch. Let them stay in kind of a prayer shape. Gaze can be upward. You can bring those thumbs in a little closer, really sinking into that seat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Right foot only as you exhale. Take that right foot to the back of the mat. Drop the right knee down into the ground and then sweep the hands up to find the ceiling. Breathe into that shape. Right foot is back, so we'll take our right hand to the outer edge of this front knee. Take the opposite hand either to your hip, or you can flip your palm so it faces outward and reach behind you. Hand that's extended behind takes a nice circle shape to bring it back up to the front of your mat. Lift tall, reach up. Exhale, this time bring that same right hand to the earth, curl the toes under on that back leg, and lift knee as you take a big shape here, lifting left hand to the sky. Left hand that's in the sky circles forward towards the front of the mat, looks for the mat, front foot steps back, downward facing dog. Switching this down dog to a plank, full plank. Inhale, breath, down dog. Exhale, breath, full plank. So ideally, we don't have to move our hands. They stay in line as we shift one more time. Down dog to full plank. Knees drop to the earth, control the triceps, belly lowers down, up for one cobra. Exhale that down. Beautiful work. Walk those hands back, even with the breastbone, push to your knees, back to that down dog. This time we want the left foot at the back of our mat, so we're going to lift our right foot up nice and tall. Step your right foot forward towards your right hand. Drop your left knee down into the mat. You're lunging on the other side. Hands work your way up when you're ready. Sink into this front knee just as you did before. Take your time. Left foot is back, so the left hand comes to the outer edge of this knee. Other arm can rest here at your hip, or you can flip so palm faces out and let it extend back behind you. Circular motion brings both hands back forward, whichever way works for you. And then now we'll take that same left hand to the earth, curl the toes under, lift that back knee into that big shape on the other side. So take whatever knee's back, same hand comes forward, twist your chest towards that front knee, and then lift. Good. Circular motion towards the front of your mat, set front foot to the back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to shift again from down dog to plank. If you need something a little softer, a little modified today, just put your knees on the ground and shift from kind of a child's pose to a half plank. You can play down here, or you can be in that big shape, downward facing dog to full plank. Just kind of shifting with your own breath, seeing what you can do with your own arm strength, your own core strength. Let your body explore some shapes that, we don't often do in our normal day-to-day. I know a lot of adults will stop and down dog in the middle of the day. So maybe you guys stop. I know I do, and my family thinks I'm equally weird for all the stop dropping yogas I do around my house. But you know what? If it keeps mom sane, she can have whatever yoga pose she wants. Or my husband would say. All right. When you get that last down dog shape, back up, hips in the sky. Let's step our opposite foot up this time. Left foot lifts. Left foot steps forward. Bring your back foot up to join it. Might take a couple little hops, that's okay. Not being graded on gracefulness. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Reach up, look at cactus. And then use your inhale after your cactus here to reach back up, palm to palm. Last chair, sink back in. Hold that chair safe. Remembering, the tighter your knees are together, the more stress this is going to be, the more work it's going to take. If you want to soften this a little bit, separate those knees. Exhale, fold. Good job. Nice work. Shake the head, yes. And no. From here, right foot steps backwards, spin that right foot so that the heel touches the ground. Bring yourself up. Or warrior one. Warrior one, hips are ideally kind of square of your mat. walk this front foot over a little bit just to make sure you're even here. Reach the hands up, and then let's put down a cactus and pause right there. So this is going to be your inhale breath. As you exhale, you're going to bring index and thumb together out in front of you. You can go right here, or you can go right here. It's going to be up to you as to how forward you go. So that'll be your inhale, and this will be your exhale. So just take about 4 or 5 more of those, just kind of playing around with the spine, seeing how much length you can get out of the back, index and thumb, making kind of a triangle shape out in front of you. Last one. All right, next time those hands are back, just let them fall down. Palms can face forward. You can lace, or you can just put them right here on your low back. Gaze might turn slightly upward for more challenge. Talking too much. All right, unleash those hands. Take a big spiral shape forward. Step the front foot back. Downward facing dog. Now you can play down dog to plank. You can do a full vinyasa, which would be down dog to plank, to up dog, to down dog. Or you can drop to your knees, take a couple breaths just in a child's pose. A little child's pose transition to half plank. But you got about 2 more breaths, so just feel free to be a little bit more creative in this space. One more nice round of breath. And we'll just meet back and down dog. And then from that down dog, we'll take small, easy steps to walk our feet towards our hands. Vertical. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, pull. Once you hit this pull, go ahead and step your left foot back this time. Spin the left heel so it touches the mat. Start thinking about warrior 1 on the other side. So we're in warrior 1. Opposite foot is back. Toes turn slightly outward, 45. Hands might come up. See what you can do with that front knee. Pay attention to its angle with your ankle. Knee might be in line with your second toe. Hands come down, look for cactus or something resembling that. As you exhale, look for that triangle shape out in front. And bring it back. Now you can switch up your breath patterns here. Maybe inhale and then exhale, just to try something different. Or you can exhale always forward and inhale always back. Just make sure you're breathing. Cool thing about all of us in person today is you're spitting all over your own face mask, so just feel free to breathe whatever feels good. Those of you at home, take some big sighing exhales, get rid of all that toxicity living inside of you. You've got the space at home to do it, so take your time to do that. All right, last one is probably close to even. Hands drop down near your hips, palms flip forward, or maybe low back, or maybe they lace. See how your shoulders feel today? See if you can sink into a little deeper shape with that front knee, maybe walking the toes further out. It's going to be more challenging, of course. Hands unleashed, big cartwheel forward. Step the foot back. Plank, down dog, vinyasa, child's pose. Take your pick. If you want more movement, you might choose vinyasa. If you want more stillness, you might choose down dog or child's pose. Two more breaths, whatever you've chosen to play with. towards your hands. Take your time. You might crawl, walk, leap, slide. Half lifting when the spine feels ready. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, these hands down to your heart. Just breathe here. Close the eyes. Lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Settle those shoulders down away from your ears. Activate your quads so that they feel grounded, supported. All right, gentle blinking, open of the eyes. We're gonna look around for a little bit of equipment. If you brought blocks with you today, you have blocks at home, go ahead and reach for at least one of those, maybe two, at the front of your mat, kind of staggering the front of the mat. We're gonna get into something that looks like standing splits. If, once we start to take this pose, you'd rather turn around, put your hands on the wall, you can do that. Or those of you at home, use a chair or couch or kitchen counter, whatever's nearby. All right. When you feel ready, we're going to inhale, reach the hands up tall. Exhale, fold. Take a half lift, long spine. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back. Leave the heel lifted. Bring yourself up for crescent. Big crescent shape. Arms come up. Knee is bent. Balancing work here. Turning on all the muscles of the legs. Exhale, breath. Hands are going to go forward. Look for blocks. Lift this back foot up off the earth. Standing splits. Hips are square to the earth. Hands are on the ground, on a block. Turn around, put your hands on the wall. If you're looking for a challenge today, hands move towards the back of the ankle, and they let go of the blocks entirely. One more good breath. Let your head hang down towards the earth. Lifted leg starts to come back down to the ground, and then when the toes touch, spin the heel. Bring yourself up for warrior two. So you've got that back foot even with the back of your mat. Front foot is forward, knees bent. Reach arms in a nice good T. Gazing forward over your front knee. Flip the front knee and move it right into a warrior dance. Away from you first. And then back up the front of your mat. Side angle. Go again. We're going to do it 3 times. Hold the side angle, 3 breaths here. You've got a block handy, so maybe take a block to the inside of that front foot. Bring the hand down, let it touch the block. Top arm reaches up and over, bicep towards your ear if you'd like. Fingertips pointing up the front of the mat for a lot more side body work. Top arm can always come around, palm facing out, tuck itself in your back pocket if you're looking for more shoulder work today. Inhale, start to bring that hand back up and forward, back up to just a traditional warrior two, knees bend, and then do the whole thing in reverse. Spin on that back toe. And let's try one more standing splits. Hands reach forward for the blocks or for the earth. 2 breaths. That's all you get in standing splits. So lift that foot up. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the lifted foot down to match your standing foot. Relax into a big forward fold. Head shakes yes. And no, you can separate your feet a little wider. You could bring your arms into more of a ragdoll shape. work. All right, when you feel ready, inhale, bring yourself up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, go back to standing. Find that standing mountain, standing Tadasana, hands coming down to heart. Close the eyes, activate your standing muscles, all muscles of the feet, ankles, calves, quads. Shoulders drop down from ears. You are solid in the earth. Take some hurricane force winds to blow you over right now. Stand up strong. Breathe. Feel the mightiness within your soul. Beautiful work. Inhale, hands reach up. Fold these hands down towards the ground when you feel ready. Softening the knees on the way if you need it. Half lift. Back down. This time, the left foot steps back. Heel is up off the earth. Crescent lunge. Spine feels tall, lifted. Arms are strong. Front knees bent. Thinking ahead. We're going next into standing splits, and that's where we're going to be able to use the strength of that front leg. Hands start to cartwheel, looking for the blocks. Back foot pivots, moves, bounces if it needs to, lifts itself into that standing splits. Now, the natural tendency of the body is to want to flip this foot out to the side. Don't let it. See if you can keep those toenails shining down towards the earth. Crown of the head slopes down towards the ground, maybe as your leg lifts a little higher. It's almost comical for me to call this standing splits because it looks nothing like splits to me, but you know what? It doesn't look like splits to you guys either, so that's okay. When you see someone truly do standing splits, it really does look like they're doing splits standing. But that's never the goal, right? We're just trying to get where we can get. Toes start to come down, let them look for the earth. Spin on that back foot. Let's find warrior two. On the other side. I'm going to try to call that like warrior three with the hands on blocks. Maybe, because that's what it looks more like to me. All right, put yourself in warrior two. Dance it. You got 3 rounds. So lean away. And then take yourself back towards. You're not holding it very long. It's all just a breath. So once you hit it, when you're ready to breathe again, bring it back up. Maybe it makes you breathe a little slower. That's a good thing. But it's all attached to a movement. There's your flowing sequence. Once you hit this side angle, hold it. Just like we did before. You might even reach for a block to bring it to the inside of that stance. Maybe top hand stays lifted to the sky, or you turn, fingertips pointing up your mat, bicep towards your ear. Hold that shape. If you'd like to move into something resembling a vine, this hand that's in the sky starts to bring itself to your mat pocket, palm facing outward. Beautiful. Take your time. Let's go back and find warrior two. And we'll do it all in reverse. Spinning on these toes. Someone's got one too wide. Spinning on those toes. All right. 2 breaths. Bring yourself hands to the earth. Back toes lift. Standing splits. Give yourself 2 more breaths in standing splits. Breath is nice and slow. Spine is nice and long. Officially, your hands. It's going to knock on our door. All right, lifted leg takes its time. Bring it back down. Near your standing. Turn it into ragdoll this time. Take your feet wide. Maybe they go all the way to the outer edges of your mat. Maybe you even step off onto the cold floor just outside your neck. That's okay too. Give yourself a nice sway side to side, elbow, hands. Maybe you take a big deep bend in your knees. Wherever you are. my friends, good work today. We're going to start to walk these feet back towards the middle of your mat. Hang in that forward fold, hands are down towards the earth. If you've had locks on your mat, just go ahead and scoot them just so they're on the outer edges of the mat. And then give them a little slide so that they're about halfway back. In the event that you might decide you want to use those, let's keep them handy. Hands go on the earth. Start to step your feet backwards towards the back of the mat. Put yourself into a full plank pose. And then lower down to the ground. Knees can touch at any point in time. Lower onto your belly. Bring your hands forward. Create a little pillow. Lift the knees. Flex the feet. Sway your feet side to side. Releasing tension in your low back. And then foreheads will come back down. Rest on that pillow. Let your legs go straight. Point through your toes. Inhale, breath. Lifts just the feet. Calves, knees up off the earth. It's like half lotus. So your forehead is relaxed. Your upper body's not doing a whole lot, but you're balancing on your belly, your pelvis. You're continuing to breathe. Exercising those muscles that protect our low back. Exhale and drop the knees, feet down to the earth. One round of breath here. Glue your feet into the ground and then start to extend your arms forward, kind of in a Superman shape. Straight out in front. Inhale, breath, glue your toenails to the ground. Lift just your upper body this time. Fingers reaching out into space. Gazing a couple inches out in front, but not straight forward. Let your body breathe. And then release. Option this time to do a whole body Superman, or you can just do your legs one more time. Use the breath. When you feel ready, whole body means toes lift and fingers and arms lift. Relax the shoulders, bring them back towards your ears, gaze just a couple inches out in front. Feel long, extended, and then relax. Hello again, perhaps with your hands, maybe bending your knees, flex feet, sway side to side. Good work. Walk those hands back with them. Settle in on either sides of the armpits. Right on the outside edges of the heart. All right, inhale, bring yourself up. Just a little baby cobra. Exhale down. 2 more, just baby lifts. Glue the pelvis into the earth. Relax the shoulders from your ears. 1 more. Good spines. Those look really nice. Walk your hands back even with the breastbone. Push up. Find your knees. Sit back, child's pose. Maybe your knees go as wide as the mat, putting your big toes together to touch. You might even drop your elbows into the earth. Hands might find prayer as they tuck behind the back of your head. Sink into that shape. Really let your hips sit onto those heels. One more nice breath here. All right, beautiful work. Bring yourself back up towards tabletop. We're going to start to finish the work here on our hands and knees with a round of pigeon. You can move into pigeon from hands and knees or from tabletop. Or if you'd rather do a more relaxed version of pigeon, I'll show you that. You can do it on your back. It's that figure 4 shape on your back. Otherwise, let's start to bring our right knee forward towards our right wrist. Your right toes are going to cut about a 45-degree angle across your mat. And then you'll just start to walk this back leg a little longer. Knee toe, knee toe, knee toe. You got a block handy, so it can always go right here underneath your hip. If you need a little bit extra catch there, you can always bring a block forward, let it go underneath your forearms or under your forehead, settle into that shape. So ideally, we're not sitting on this front foot, so we want to make sure it comes out enough where this front knee doesn't experience any kind of discomfort. If there's any weird pinching going on in that knee, you might need to even just roll all the way to this outer hip, move into something a little bit more modified, which would be fine too. Just take your time, figure out what shape works. Especially if it's been a little bit since you've done this, because the pigeon's a pretty big shape. I haven't been doing a lot of it online because I can't see you at home. But Tim did just turn his camera back on. Move in to rest in that pigeon. Take 2 more breaths. All right, let's use our next natural inhale to start to walk the hands back underneath us. And before we come completely out of this, I want you to just kind of play here for a moment. So you can kind of cow and pigeon, you can let your belly drop just a little bit, and then do just a little baby rounding in your back. Or you can do kind of some bicep, tricep style push-ups. Just see what little intricacies you can find in this pigeon that feel good to your hips, feel okay to your back. Add a little strengthening to your arms. And then you're going to transition. So some of us are going to curl the toes under and lift to a big down dog. That's going to feel good to us. Others are going to do something maybe a little less graceful and just kind of take the foot back, maybe take a child's pose for a moment, or even just kind of move around on your hands and knees. Remembering that your yoga is your yoga. It doesn't have to look like your neighbor. It doesn't have to look like me. Left knee starts to come forward towards left wrist, whether you're hovering and lifting it there from down dog, or you're just moving from a child's pose. I let this foot kind of cut a line across my mat. And then I just walk knee, toe, so move that back. I might reach for a block to put underneath my hip, or bring another one forward and rest. You might even roll to the far edge of this hip. Take a more modified version if you've got pinching or irritation in your knees. Or, as I said before, you can roll over and put all of this on your back. But just stay in that pigeon if you can for a few more breaths. Let your spine be nice and long. Even if you've chosen to kind of fold forward towards this front knee, you can do so with a long spine. It doesn't have to stay completely still, so if it feels good to kind of just sway a little bit in your pigeon, you certainly can. As long as you remember that that front knee is not supposed to be experiencing any kind of pain. So if it is, it's probably not in the right spot. And the right spot for me is not always the same for you. Starting to wake yourself up from that sleeping pigeon, hands just walk back underneath, and then you get to play here just for a moment. So just as you did before, you might just kind of push into the earth with the chest. You might kind of play with a little bit of push-up style shape, moving around some weight in your hands and your arms. towel a little bit in that kitchen. But when this side feels complete, we're going to get out of this a little different than we did the other side. You got your left knee forward, so we're just going to start to roll to our left hip. Start to swing this right leg from around back. And then look for one of your blocks or both of your blocks if you want to have those handy. We're going to start to transition onto our backs. So feet will come out in front. Backs will start to settle down into the earth. And for me, it usually feels good to immediately have my knees in or let them kind of windshield wiper a little bit side to side. Take whatever steps make sense to you to start to let the backside body be comfortable on your mat, comfortable on this hard earth. And then just listen to your own body. You want an inversion? Maybe you feel like you didn't flip upside down enough today. Reach for that block, slide it underneath your back, lift your feet to the sky. Give yourself kind of a waterfall shape. If you don't feel like you need that so much, maybe you hug those knees in tight. Maybe you take a happy baby with hands on the outer edges of the feet. You rock around a little bit more, check marking perhaps. Extending a leg, bending a knee. Maybe you decide you just want a reclined bound angle with the soles of the feet touching and the knees out to the side. You've got some opportunity here to just listen, not to me, but to you. To let this yoga practice do what it needs to do for you. As these final postures start to feel complete, just ease your way, slowly and controlled, out of whatever postures you've been playing with and move yourself in to whatever that final rest is going to look like for you today. If you have two blocks handy, perhaps you choose to place them behind the bends in the backs of your knees. Let your low back have a little extra support as you rest here on the earth. That's one of my favorites. Perhaps you choose to place a block between your knees and roll to rest on your right hand side, taking a sideline savasana, or maybe the left if that serves you better. Maybe you place a block underneath the back of your head just to give it a little lift, and maybe a block underneath your hips or your feet. Maybe you use no props at all and just let your back, your legs, your arms all find peace and comfort on the earth. Whatever you need out of these final closing moments, take your time. Let yourself have this time, this space, this comfort, to let everything sift and settle back into place. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Very gentle, and let's come back into your body. Maybe something as simple as wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, swaying the head from side to side. Just take your time. I might choose to bend the knees and walk the feet a little closer. I might choose to rock and roll a little bit on our backs, hugging the knees into the chest. Our spines, just have a moment. Knowing that when you feel ready, you might choose to roll to your right, maybe using your right arm as a pillow. Feel good to rest there for a few moments. Hugging the knees a little tighter into the chest than usual, embracing that somewhat of a fetal position, providing safety and comfort to our bodies. Knowing that when and if you feel ready, you can simply push into the earth at any time. Bring yourself back up to a seat and just take a couple full breaths in a seated meditation. Closing the eyes, maybe flipping palms to the ceiling or letting them rest palm to palm at your heart. Taking a few moments for quiet reflection, maybe even prayer. Today's final reading is entitled, What Do You Feed Your Mind? If you serve yourself gratitude, kindness, and acceptance every day, your mind can reconnect you with your heart. If you serve yourself negative self-talk, your mind will keep you trapped, far away from the truth of your heart. What do you feed your mind? I encourage you today to only serve yourself gratitude, kindness, and acceptance. And see how your mind can reconnect you to your heart. I greatly appreciate you finding this time for yourself, not only for your physical body to move and breathe alongside us in person or from home. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.